Hi, my name is Alyssa Chambers, and I am here to do my makeup and talk about astrology. Today we are talking about your big three, which is the most important part of you. If you like astrology and you like makeup, I suggest that you subscribe because I'm gonna do this forever. I feel like it'll never end. Your big three. Your big three is what everyone is going to ask you a million billion times when you first learn about astrology. What's your big three? What's your big three? Your big three is your sun, your moon, and your ascendant. You can't know these things without knowing your time. I mean, you can try, but it needs to be within, like, I think an hour or 2 hours. So don't guess. You want to really look it up and figure it out. It starts off with your sun sign, and your sun sign is how you think that people perceive you and what you think you should be doing with your life. And it's probably not at all really how it is. I mean, it is to some extent, but this is what your purpose in life will be. That's going to make you happy, basically. A lot of people will see their horoscope and be like, oh my gosh, I'm such a whatever their sun sign is. But you're probably not. You're probably not really like that at all. You're probably more like your moon sign. And you just think that you're like your sun sign. So you're like, oh, I'm such a Leo, I'm just whatever. But your moon sign is completely like contradicting that, and you don't even realize. When I look at my horoscope, I look at all three of my big three and see what I identify the most with, and usually it's my moon. Your sun is represented on your chart by a circle with a dot in it. That's how you can find it. And wherever that is what house it's in, and all of that is going to be super, super important. Now, for the most part, in America, we go sun, moon, ascendant. That's your big three. Sun, moon, ascendant in that order. But in other countries, they do it other ways. So if you're speaking to someone from somewhere else or someone who learned from someone else, you want to clarify that that's what they're saying is also sun, moon, rising, because it'll completely change the interpretation that you take away from someone saying, what's your big three? So even though your moon is more of how you really are and what we should be talking about next, I just want to talk about your ascendant really quick, or rising sign. It is very easy for this to be wrong if you don't have the time. I know I've said that a million times, but it's so incredibly important because it changes all of the houses at this point, your ascendant and possibly your moon, which is they're the most important things about yourself. Your ascendant is how people first perceive you when they meet you. And it can be very tricky. It can really trip people up because they might think of you one way and you may not see yourself that way at all, or even act that way. So a lot of celebrities are used as an example of, you meet them and you're like, oh, they're so this or they're so that, but you're seeing when you first meet someone just that surface, just like a first impression of everyone that you meet. It's the same thing. You could meet somebody like a rock star or something, and they could be, seem so chill when you meet them. Like, their sign could be an earth sign, their ascendant could be, and you're like, this is very strange. How come they are acting so calm when on stage? They're like this crazy fiery personality. Like, say they have a Leo sun and a Leo moon, and then you meet them and they're just like, hey, what's up? You could go on a first date with someone and completely get them wrong because they seem so super chill, even though maybe they're not at all. They're just kind of putting on a show for you. And all you're getting is that ascendant because they're so nervous that they're not really even being themselves. Somebody's ascendant is also their like actual physical appearance. So you could meet someone and they could have like a Leo ascendant and they could seem so like crazy and eccentric and like very dressed up, and that's just how they present themselves. And they could have like a Scorpio moon or sun, and really deep down they're very like mysterious, but you're so drawn in by the initial meeting that you're like intrigued. One of the most common things I see on astrology pages is people doing that game where they're like, guess my big three. But it's a trick. If you're guessing someone's big three, your initial thought of what you think that they are, like if you look at them and you're like Leo, then that's probably their rising sign. But if they show a picture of them like more being themselves, like doing things, if you look and see their room is full of like books and stuff like that, like they like to learn, maybe they're like more of a Sag. Geminis are really funny and artistic. Geminis get a really bad rep. But it's very interesting because your initial thoughts are, you know, when you meet anybody, it's not necessarily correct. Your moon is who you really truly are as a person. If you've ever done your horoscope, like pretty much everyone in the world has been like, oh, read my horoscope today. And you're like, that doesn't sound like me at all. Or you're like, you read something and you're like, Libra. I don't do any of that. That's because your sun sign is not really truly you at all. You could have completely different signs that completely contradict. Like you could be an Aries. Aries is the opposite of Libra, and your moon could be in Aries, and you could find yourself being not so much on the fence about decisions and not so much like trying to play devil's advocate. Like you could completely disagree with people and be maybe even aggressive about it. And I'm going to say it one more time. Your moon only stays in the same full sign for one whole day. So if you're wrong about your time and you're on, like, you might be this day, it might be that day, you're very wrong about yourself. And if you feel like your chart isn't adding up to who you really are, sometimes you can get away with, yeah, I kind of am that way or whatever, but please check your time. Your moon is how you react to things. It is your inner child. It's your relationship with your mother a lot of times. The moon is really cool if you learn someone's moon because it's who they truly are when they like let their guard down, basically. So if you meet someone and they seem on edge and blah blah blah, but the more you get to know them, the more you will realize how they really truly are. The more that they open up to you. It's just like with any friendship, but if you have friends who you feel like, when we first met they didn't talk at all, and now they talk all the time, or they're very talkative, or they're not at all like how I thought they were, it's probably because they were being kind of like not themselves and not their moon. They were doing their sun sign, which is what they think that they are and what they think that they want and what they think that their purpose is, instead of really being themselves. For an example, I have a friend who their sun is in Cancer. I don't remember his rising off the top of my head, but his sun is in Cancer and his moon is in Aries. And he is 100% way more Aries than he is Cancer, let me tell you. He's super competitive. He has so much drive. He works really hard. From what I can tell, his mom is very competitive, which they say that your moon sign relates to your mother. And I mean, it's crazy. But he also is low-key super nurturing. I hope he watches this. But he's really, really nice, and he always thinks about other people, but he also is like a little bit like me, 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 me. Like he has to be the best in the room. He wants to be the most competitive. He wants to like show off. It's super important to him to be the best in the room, and I just find it really funny because if you met him and he was like, I'm a Cancer, people would be like, oh, and no, not really at all. It's funny how your moon can like completely contradict who you think you are as a person. Like I think that if you go in and you really look and think about all the times you've read your horoscope and been like, oh my gosh, yes, so relatable. But then you go in and you look at your moon sign, you'll be like, wait, what? Also, your moon is shown on your chart. It looks like a crescent moon, like the end of a fingernail, like a little, it's pretty easy to find. You'll identify that one very fast and get used to it very fast. That's how you look up your big three and how to know, how it changes things about you. It's the most important. If you're going to learn anything, really start with your big three. So now you know how to look up your chart, how to know where the planets are, where your big three is, and next I think I'm going to do a video for each individual sign. So this is going to take forever, but I find it so interesting. So yeah, thanks for watching and thanks for getting ready with me, and have a good day.